Warning, warning.
Spoiler alert.
So after many soulless live-action adaptations from Disney, DreamWorks decided to take a shot at it with How to Train Your Dragon. And it was amazing.
The best.
A little background on me. I think the animated How to Train Your Dragon might be the greatest animated movie of all time. It was one of the first videos I made on this channel. I think it is just one of the most perfect movies ever created.
Precious.
So this live-action adaptation had a lot of pressure on it, but it delivered. From a live-action adaptation, I don't want there to be a totally different story. I just want the characters and their relationships with each other to be expanded for us to have a better understanding of the world, but I want the story to be fairly similar because that's the movie that we all fell in love with. And that's exactly what this adaptation did. Unlike many of the Disney live adaptations, DreamWorks decided to bring in the director and writer of the original How to Train Your Dragon, Dean DeBlois, to direct and write this. He brought the soul and the heart of the animated movie onto the live-action big screen perfectly.
Oh, you beautiful man!
My main criticism of the animated movie was Hiccup and Astrid's relationship. It felt like Astrid did a complete 180, from hating Hiccup to loving him, and it just seemed extremely unrealistic. I think their relationship definitely flourished and got a lot deeper in the second and third movie, but I wasn't a massive fan of their relationship in the first movie.
It was okay.
So when going into this adaptation, the one thing I wanted was to have more time and to deepen their relationship together to make it more realistic. And I think this movie delivered that perfectly.
Well done.
They spent a little bit more time together in the live-action remake compared to the animated movie. And it seems like they made Astrid slowly turn to like Hiccup instead of doing a complete 180 like in the animated movie. One scene where this is displayed better in the live-action remake compared to the animated movie is when Toothless and Hiccup take Astrid on a flight. After Hiccup and Toothless take Astrid on a flight, she does a complete 180. Even during the flight, just the way she's animated and the way she acts, she's extremely happy, and it seems like a complete turnaround from her previous thoughts. But in the live-action remake, she seems more surprised and cautious, and she slowly changes her mind, which is less of a 180 and makes it seem a lot more realistic for her character. Another thing I was scared about is how Toothless would be modeled and animated in the live-action remake. It is extremely hard to make animals in the live-action setting as emotive and expressive as their animated counterparts. As we saw in the first Lion King, Simba and Nala and just all the lions, their facial expressions weren't as expressive as in the animated movie because it's just hard to do when you're trying to make them look realistic. And even though dragons aren't real, they try to make Toothless look somewhat realistic. With that being said, I think they modeled him amazingly, and he was animated very well in a way that he was just as expressive in the live action as he was in the animated movie. I also enjoy how they really pushed Hiccup's insecurities more in the live action remake and his father's disapproval of him. This just further deepens his character and his relationship with his father, Stoic. Speaking of Hiccup, I think Mason Thames did a fantastic job of portraying Hiccup's character while also giving a fresh take. I think he's a bit less awkward in the live-action remake, but because they sort of push his insecurities and his father's disapproval of him, we still get the heart that the animated movie was giving us through his character. I also think Nico Parker was very good as Astrid. She was a little less animated and expressive in the live-action remake, which makes sense, given that in animated movies, the voice acting and the animations are usually more over the top than how a person would act realistically. With that being said, I also think she gave a fresh and unique take on Astrid's character, which fit in the realm of this story they were trying to tell. There are also some random side plots, you could say, that I found a little weird that they added to this movie. For example, Snotlout's relationship with his father. I don't think I left the animated movie thinking, I really want to see more about this character, you know? But I think what they were trying to do is to show why he was bullying Hiccup because of his own insecurities, which I get and I like, but again, I don't think it was needed, or I don't think we needed to expand on Snotlout's character, you know? But I guess it was a nice touch.
But you know what I'm trying to say.
There's one thing that I really disliked about the live action remake,
Not to nitpick here.
and that is how they cut the scene where Hiccup learns that dragons aren't fireproof on the inside. In the animated movie, after Test Drive and after Hiccup and Toothless fully bond and they could ride together perfectly, they're chilling on a little island. And some terrible terrors come and try and steal Toothless's food, which he obviously gets annoyed at. So as one of them comes towards him, he shoots a little fireball into one of the terrible terrors' mouth, which makes him a little drowsy and makes him walk away. This is just a funny scene for the most part, but Hiccup says the line, "I guess dragons aren't fireproof on the inside." This could just be a throwaway line if you're not fully paying attention. But in the final act to defeat the Red Death, Hiccup instructs Toothless to shoot a fireball in the mouth of the bigger dragon, making him explode and eventually die. That's what I love about the animated movie, is that they used that throwaway line to justify Hiccup knowing how to defeat this dragon, showing how smart he is.
Genius.
In the live-action remake, they don't have this scene, which makes Hiccup's actions in the last act seem like it was a guess, or it was lucky, because he defeats the Red Death in the exact same way by shooting a fireball into his mouth, but he didn't get the pre-knowledge that this would in fact kill the dragon.
You're a fraud. A total fraud.
That's one thing that I really disliked. Apart from that, I think this is probably the best live-action remake of an animated movie yet. And I think that really does go down to having the director and writer of the animated movie direct and write the live-action remake. I also want to touch on John Powell's score. I think his score in the animated movie is one of the best scores ever created. I listen to it all the time. And I think his score in the live-action remake is really good too. He didn't change too much from the animated score, and I think that's perfect. He just made it a bit fresher, changed a little bit, but again, it was just as good and just as memorable in hearing it in a theater again after 15 years.
Amazing. Oh.
All in all, it was a great movie. Do I think the animated movie is better? Of course, I think it still holds up to this day. But compared to other live-action remakes, this is by far the best. And I'll probably watch it in rotation with the animated movie, which I can't say for any other live-action remake of an animated movie that I've seen to this date. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Later, suckers!